from getting the kind of diversity of reporting information that they deserve. We are talking to the Pakistani government at the highest level about these issues. We're also working year after year in the trenches with Pakistani civil society to help to train journalists about fact-checking, about responsible sourcing of their information, about journalistic standards. And what I can also see is, while there is censorship, both self and active, we can also see the development of some truly excellent journalism coming out of Pakistan, and some very brave journalists who defy these censors and still produce things that call into question the government, or the military, or the Americans, or any number of other institutions of authority.
If I may, sir, what exactly have those conversations yielded with the government? Because I mean, it's one thing to have them, but it's another to be pursuing, some outcomes that are beneficial to the values that we uphold here and we want to see in a real active democratic society.
I do think it's important for both the administration and the Congress to say loud and clear that we are watching what happens in Pakistan. We're watching closely its human rights record, what it does with respect to religious freedom, and what it's doing on free speech. I grant you, I don't know that what we say today affects exactly what they're going to do tomorrow, but over time, if we let up on these values, it's going to be worse, because they can see that there are no consequences for these violations.
Well, my time is expiring. The only thing that I want to leave you with is I think we have a responsibility to make that concern clearer, more active, and seek the outcomes that we believe in maintaining our democracy. My time has expired. I yield back to the chair.
Thank you very much. And we now proceed to Congressman Brad Schneider of Illinois. And of course, it's really easy to get confused between Gabe Amo and Brad Schneider. They both come from assorted northern states, Rhode Island and now Illinois.
Thank you, Chairman Wilson. And no good deed going unpunished. Gabe asked the question I wanted to ask, and thank you for your answer. I'm going to build on that. In your written testimony, you concluded that the Pakistani people deserve a country that is peaceful, democratic, and prosperous, quotes. And we just talked a little bit about what the United States can do, but let me just say here that a peaceful, democratic, and prosperous Pakistan is not just important to the Pakistanis, it's in the interest of the United States as well. And that's why we were having this hearing, and I thank the chairman for calling it. And we're addressing what has been discussed, very real concerns about the election, but also recognizing, as you noted in your testimony, the positive elements seen in the election and how we build upon them. And I hope we continue those conversations. I want to shift gears a little bit and touch on Afghan deportations, though. I share, with others, the deep concern of these mass deportations of undocumented Afghans back to Afghanistan, where they're going to live in horrible humanitarian conditions under the Taliban. Human Rights Watch claims that Pakistani authorities have committed widespread abuses against Afghans living in Pakistan to compel their return to Afghanistan, including by confiscating property, destroying documents, and physically abusing individuals. Has U.S. raised these concerns with the government at all, and how is U.S. working with the international community to push back against this policy?
Thank you, sir. We have had discussions with the Pakistani government at the highest levels about these deportations. As you know, as has been well documented, over 500,000 Afghans have returned to Afghanistan following this effort by the Pakistani government to remove illegal foreigners. From the first day of that process, we have been in touch with the Pakistani government, both about the humanitarian consequences of this mass deportation, but also to try to protect those Afghans who have a pathway to coming to the United States. There are thousands of Afghans who worked with us, who worked with our embassy or our military, who have fled to Pakistan and sought sanctuary there. We have been very keen that those Afghans are allowed to stay so we can process them.
And they're still in processing.
And they are. And the Pakistani government has actually, on this one issue, been very supportive. We are grateful for that. On the broader issue, we are talking with the new government now about trying to make sure that the rights of Afghan refugees are respected. We are thankful, right? The Pakistani people have hosted over 3 million Afghan refugees now for over 40 years. It is historic in proportion. That sacrifice does not go unnoticed. At the same time, we very much hope they work with the UNHCR as they enter this next phase where they're trying to figure out whether more people are returning, whether some of those who have returned are able to come back to Pakistan, and that the needs of those refugees are being met.
Thank you, and I've raised this previously with the ambassador, Pakistani ambassador as well, and look forward to working with you to make sure that happens. I'll shift gears again. We touched on this. I'll pick up where Mr. Lawler left off. Pakistan-Iranian relations. You mentioned the